And just a gigolo, and everywhere I go, people know the part I'm playing. Paid for every dance, selling its romance. Oh, what they say. There will come a day.
Hello, my name is Dean Adams, and that's Lana, and today we're going to show you how to make carbonara. Okay, like I said, we're going to learn how to do a little carbonara cooking today. A lot of people get scared by carbonara. They think it's a hard dish to make just because of the finish, the way that the dish is finished off at the end with the egg. You can end up with scrambled eggs if you don't do it correctly, and then basically you'll be having breakfast pasta. So let's get started here. We've got our water boiling, so take the lid off here. We want to make sure that we salt the water. You always want to salt the water. I like to salt it enough to make it like seawater. So we've got our salt pig here, and we'll put 3 rather large pinches of salt in there and get it stirred up. And then today we're going to be using bucatini. It's a long pasta. It's got a hole in the middle of it. Ends up being like a noodle. I like it. It's very versatile. You can use it with just about anything. This particular dish, you want to use a long pasta, specifically something that's a little bit wider. And anything less than a spaghetti, and you're going to have a mess on your hands. You don't want to use capellini or angel hair, just because they're not thick enough. The sauce will kind of take over the dish, and it will really end up in knots. So make sure you get your pasta in here. We're going to push it down. Now, we want to cook this to al dente, so looks like our al dente on the side of the box says 11, so we're going to set it to 10 minutes. A few things to start talking about carbonara. It's a dish that has a bacon in it. We've got here is pancetta. It's unsmoked Italian style bacon. I've diced it up here. You can get it generally from the bigger grocery stores if you live in a big city like I do, like Chicago. You can get it at Italy downtown and any of the different markets. Generally we'll have it in round form. So you want to take that up and dice it up just so it's about 1/4 of an inch. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it in small chunks. Dish also calls for Parmesan, 2 eggs, garlic, and parsley. So make sure you have all those things before we get started. Okay, we've got our pasta going here. It's about 5 minutes left. You want to constantly keep stirring it. So we got our bucatinis really starting to take shape here. So with about that much time left, you want to get the sauce going. So we're going to turn on our burner here and get it going. We'll start with just a little bit here of olive oil just to get it nice and flowing. Make sure that we put all our pancetta in. Really kind of spread it around the pan. Now, you only want to cook this on about medium-high to high heat for about 3 minutes, really until it just starts to crisp up and the bacon just starts to render. Now, what that means is it's kind of the juices of the bacon are starting to come out, and with that, you know, you've got your flavor. You see here I've got some butter going, using the heat of the stove and the oven to melt the butter, because we're going to throw a little garlic bread in here. Now, carbonara is a dish from the central Italian area, really known in the Roman region. It's a dish that hasn't not been around forever. Sort of got its start right around World War II, when the soldiers were bringing in their bacon and egg rations. This is a dish that really kind of started to take shape right around that time, and by post World War II, it became a staple in Rome and Central Italy. Now, there are many different stories, just like any other food in Italian culture. That's just one of them. Yeah, it's really kind of an obscure dish. Some people say it started way back in the 1800s with the Carbonari, or the coal miners workers, and it even came over to the United States. And there are some cultures in the coal mining states that say it's, they call it coal miners pasta. Eggs, bacon, pasta. It's a nice heavy dish, something that you'd need after being down in the mines all day. Now, see what we got here is the bacon's really starting to render up right now. Now, with that like that, we'll give it a quick stir. And it's going to start to crisp up here. We got about a minute left on our pasta. I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit, and we're going to add in some minced garlic. Now, I'm not afraid of garlic, so I'm going to use a whole bunch here, but feel free to use as much as you, or as little as you want. Now, the thing about this minced garlic is I buy it pre-minced, but if you have a press and you want to do it fancy all by yourself, then you can go ahead and do it. But it's going to cook very fast. So when you put it in, you want to make sure not to overcook it and burn it. So really, we're talking about constantly stirring this. And when you start to smell it, that's about right when we're about to be done. So we're going to keep this going for a little bit. Check on our pasta. It's looking pretty good. Almost done here. Yeah, we're about done here. So we want to make sure that we reserve some of the pasta water. Fancy Pyrex. We'll reserve some of this so we have it on the side here. And then we're just going to start taking the pasta wholesale, tossing it right in here. We'll turn our burner off because now we're done with the heat. Here's the tricky part: it's getting everything in the frying pan. So we've got that going. Take this pasta water off. Meanwhile, we've got some French bread here that we've cooked, or we've cut on the diagonal because we're fancy. And I'm just going to throw this in the oven for a couple of minutes. It's about 300 degrees, say 2-3 minutes, and we'll get a nice toast on it. So now that we've got our pasta in here, we want to take 2 eggs that we've had sitting out the entire time, and we're going to add some Parmesan Reggiano. You can also use Pecorino Romano if you'd like, but I've got the Parmesan, so I'm going to use it. We're going to add this to our eggs here. Going to get it beat up. So we want to incorporate this all together. Now, some of the recipes out there will call just for egg yolk. I like to use the whole egg. Really kind of gives it an even texture for a finished dish. So I'm going to use about half a cup of Parmesan here. Really get it worked in there. Now that we've got everything going over here, we're going to start working in the egg mixture and hopefully not end up with scrambled egg pasta. Now, the trick is to keep it moving, which we're going to attempt to do. At the same time, making sure that you mix everything up. Now, we reserved that pasta water earlier, and the reason for doing that is so we can add it and thin out the sauce. Really get everything in here. Attempt to do this Lydia style. Get it tossed up. Really see how the egg is taking shape. Now we've got a little bit of chunks in here, and that's from the cheese. So don't start thinking that, oh no, we've got eggs scrambled. We're doing okay. Now we see we've got this sauce really starting to take shape. We've got the pasta water reserved. It's going to give us a silky smooth texture. Now, while we are doing this, we want to make sure that we add some more cheese. And we're going to throw some fresh cracked black pepper. Really get it coarse. You really want it to kind of flavor the dish. We don't have to add salt to this because you've got the saltiness of the bacon. Plus, we've salted the water the pasta was in, which not only helps it from sticking, but it also brings out the flavor of the pasta. Alright, we've got our pasta pretty much done here. We're almost ready to plate. We're going to bring out this garlic bread. We've got it really nice and crisped up now. I'm going to use a paintbrush, basically. This is a culinary paintbrush. It's basically just like a small 1-inch chip brush that you buy from Home Depot, but I don't recommend buying the ones from Home Depot. Definitely get this from a food or cooking store. So we're just going to use this to brush on the butter. Really gives it kind of an even coat here. And then we're going to cheat and use garlic powder. Even spread. And that'll give us something very good to have as a side dish. Okay, so we've got our serving bowl here. I'm going to get this pasta all rounded up, nice and creamy. And take our tongs and get it plated here. Do it in, little turn. Little turn, makes it a little nice and artful. And we've got some chopped Italian parsley here. This is flat parsley. This is what you want to use. Kind of looks like cilantro, but it's not cilantro. I don't recommend using cilantro. We've got it chopped up here. We're going to sprinkle this on. Add a little bit more of our Parmesan. Throw on a little side of garlic bread, and we'll be ready to eat. I'm going to pair with it a little Montepulciano d'Abruzzo, which is a wine from the central part of Italy. It's nice and medium bodied, and it's not going to overpower your pasta. I don't really go for you have to have white with a white sauce or red with veal or whatever. I'm kind of the school of thought that if you like to drink what you like, and you'll never be unhappy. So I hope you were able to follow along today, and you're able to cook this dish. It's one of my favorites, and hopefully it'll be one of your favorites too. Thanks for watching today. Hopefully you have a better idea on how to make carbonara. Remember, there's always room at the table.
I keep soup and minestrone just to be with her alone, Angelina. Angelina, the waitress at the pizzeria.